we probably should call this meeting to order. Everybody want to get started, or do we want to take a little extra time?
Well, we could just exchange recipes.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah. Would that work?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Hot buffalo wing sounds good about now. So, all right then, let's go ahead and get started. Here, let me put some glasses on I can see with. Aha. All right, we'll call the meeting for Monday, May 8th, 2023 for the Community-Oriented Policing Committee. And let's see, let's go ahead and do the roll call first.
Sure. Mayor John Minto,
Here.
Captain Mike McNeil,
Here.
Lieutenant Christopher Galvey,
Here.
Jacob Donnan,
Here.
Mike Olander,
Here.
David Shorey,
Here?
Bonnie Baranoff, Dr. Mark Foreman,
Here.
Danette McLaughlin,
Here.
Mike Aiken.
Here.
Absentee currently is Marlene Best, representative from West Hills High School, representative from Santana High School, the Chamber of Commerce, the Santee Collaborative, and Linda Roach, as well as Steve Stellman.
Great.
You have
thanks.
quorum.
Marlene will not be here. She had to have a meeting with Santee School District. There we go. So let's go to item number 2, which is approval of the April 10, 2023 regular meeting minutes. Any additions, corrections, or deletions from that? Not seeing any hands. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll motion to approve.
A motion by Aiken,
Second.
second by Shorey. All in favor, please call the roll.
Mayor Minto,
Aye.
Sheriff's Department,
Aye.
Mike Olander,
Aye.
David Shorey,
Aye.
Bonnie Baranoff,
Aye.
Dr. Mark Foreman,
Aye.
Danette McLaughlin,
Aye.
Mike Aiken.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. And item number 3, updates on neighborhood watch and crime prevention. Jacob.
Good afternoon, everyone. Since our last meeting, we had a few events we were attending. On the 21st of last month, we went to Cajon Park Elementary's Family Picnic Day, joined in the festivities there, handed out some goodies to the students. We were joining Councilman Trotter's Town Hall a couple weeks ago. The following day, the 26th, I held the Crime-Free Multi-Housing 8-hour seminar training. So now there are, I think, 28 apartment managers throughout East County that attended and are now certified as of phase 1. So they got a couple more phases to go, and then they'll be certified crime-free locations. Later that same day in the evening, we attended Joel Anderson's Coffee with the Community, set up an outreach booth there. And last Tuesday, we attended a Special Olympics fundraiser at the ARCO AMPM on North Magnolia, just outside of Santee, but in El Cajon there. Great turnout. We're looking forward to May 20th, lighting the torch and starting the games. And then upcoming on the 17th, I'll be hosting a neighborhood watch for the Carefree East condo community.
Excellent. Just down the street.
Yep.
Yeah, nice. That takes us to item number 4, which is a presentation by Internet Crimes Against Children Traffic Force. Task Force. Thank you. Appreciate that. And presenter is Lisa Ringel.
Yes.
Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. My name is Lisa Ringel, and I am an office support specialist for the San Diego Police Department working on the San Diego Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Just for a quick background, the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force was created to combat the online victimization of children. And there are 61 coordinated task forces across the United States. They are made up of federal, state, and local prosecutorial and law enforcement agencies. Here, San Diego ICAC, we cover San Diego, Riverside, and Imperial County. So I'm going to talk about the crimes that we're seeing that are the most serious right now, the issues that we're having, and talk about a little bit of prevention and resources if family members are victimized. And I know that some people may not have children, but I'm going to be giving you a lot of information that you can pass on. I hope that you pass on to friends, family members, anybody who has kids, pass this information on. Word of mouth is huge. So you can make a big impact for me just by sharing this information with the people that you know. A lot of people think that these crimes will not happen to them. That is a big myth I face. A lot of parents say, well, we come from a good home, we live in a good neighborhood, we homeschool our kids. I've heard it all. But the reality is that every single child that has a device that connects to the internet a predator has access to them. And every child is vulnerable because they're trusting. You know, they believe these people online, these are their friends, and so they will engage them and share things with them, or they'll be threatened, intimidated, manipulated. Our youngest cases are 7- and 8-year-olds who are sending nude photos to people that they're meeting online. And we're doing everything that we can, but we need parents' help. I truly believe that the foundation of handling these kind of crimes starts at home with the parents being involved in their child's online world, because that's where it's going to begin, and that's where a lot of this victimization is happening, when the child is at home or they have these devices and parents aren't checking in. And I know they think that, you know, it doesn't apply to them, but every single child is vulnerable. These crimes cross all socioeconomic and ethnic lines. There is no one group that's targeted. All children are targeted. And I'm going to pass through this, sorry, and move on. So I have found, I've been with the ICAC since 2010. I have found that there are 4 particular goals for the online predator, because every report that comes into my office, it comes through me. I process every report, put a case number on the reports. I'm the one that's going through them. I'm the one that's reading them. I'm the one that's seeing the images and the videos right up front. So I have found that the predator wants money, they want sexual chat, nude pictures or videos, or they want to meet the child in person. Those are the 4 main goals. Now, how are they going to attain those goals? First, they're going to ask. Parents do not think that their child will do this, so they don't talk to a child or a teen about this and specifically say, do not send nude pictures or videos, or do not send any inappropriate pictures or videos, or do not send pictures without your clothes on. However you want to handle that with, of course, children of different ages, you need to say it if they have a device, or they go over to friends' houses and sleep over. A lot of parents don't think about that. You know, I've heard parents say, well, we homeschool our kids, they don't have internet at home. But did they go to some friend's house? What are their parents of the friends? What is their policy for internet safety? Because I've had reports of kids going to sleepovers and getting on Omegle and things like that. But a lot of these kids, they'll just straight up ask them because the kid doesn't know. Hey, send me a nude picture or video. And the child goes, okay, I don't see anything wrong with it. Nobody's told me it's not okay. I don't understand. So they just send it. They may threaten or intimidate them. We have a case with an 11-year-old girl who met somebody playing Roblox. This man proceeded to ask for those pictures or videos. She said no. She was really good about it. But unfortunately, the information that not only she had shared, her friends had shared, and her family had shared online about her gave this suspect or this predator the location of her home, and he sent her a screenshot of her home, a Google image of her home, and said, I'm going to come and hurt you or your family if you don't send me the pictures. And she did, because she was scared. I don't know him, I don't know what he looks like, and I don't know where he lives, but he knows where I live because he just sent me a picture of it. So we're dealing with that now also. The overshare, unfortunately, has given the predators a lot more information about kids than we realize. Sometimes it's gifts. The predator will send Uber Eats food. They'll send watches. Apple Watch. They'll send them gift cards. They'll send them. We had a young man who got computer equipment off of the predator that he was talking to, and the kids, all the child is thinking, or the teen is thinking, I got free gifts. You know, there's no thought as to the consequences, the long-term consequences of these actions. So they're getting free gifts. They're sending those pictures, and we have to remember that online these pictures go everywhere. These are not Polaroids. You can't just take it back and take it down. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children works very hard every single day with companies to get these images that you know as child pornography, we now refer to as child sexual abuse material, CSAM, or child sexual abuse imagery, CSI. They try to get these taken down, and we work with companies, but whoever has these pictures, pass them around and share them. They're putting them back up. They're putting them on adult websites and things like that. The children also may receive grooming. They want to meet the child. They want pictures and videos. Sometimes they'll groom them. I'm going to offer you love and affection, positive attention, positive affirmation. Who doesn't want a friend that is nothing but positive, relates to me, understands me, and tells me how great I am and how good looking I am and how smart I am? Who wouldn't want that? That's what they're meeting online. These predators are good at what they're doing. See, hanging out in the creepy van in front of school is not as beneficial as going online and pretending to be somebody their own age and using pictures of kids that are their own age. So this is where a lot of this is happening. Right now, our biggest problem is sextortion, which is the main reason that I wanted to come and talk to you. It was because of sextortion. The girls are meeting somebody online who asks for pictures or videos, and they send that first picture or video. That's all it takes, is just one. And the predator is going to take that and say, now I'm sending it to all your friends and family if you don't send me more. And what is the child going to do, or the teen going to do? I'm afraid. I don't want to tell mom and dad. I'm scared I'm going to get in trouble. I did something stupid, but now I'm stuck. So I'll send them more pictures because they say they'll stop if I do. Well, of course, we all know that doesn't happen. But unfortunately, some of these girls are suffering and being victimized for years because it just gets worse and worse. And the deeper that they get entrenched with the suspect, the worse it gets for them and the harder it is for them. And so they end up sending more and more, and unfortunately, these pictures are out there, and again, we work hard to take them down. For the boys, it's financial sextortion. If girls are being financially sextorted, I have not seen those cases, and as I said, I see every case that comes in the office. It may be happening, but I have not had a case of that yet in my office. For the boys, what's happening is someone who's going to portray a female, whether they're female or not, you never know. But they're going to portray a female. They're going to reach out to the boy, and they're going to say, hey, I'll send you nude pictures, and you send me some. And they'll send them pictures of a nude woman or a young girl that they found online. And what's going to happen is the boy is going to send it back. Before that predator has ever spoke to that child, they have already taken screenshots of their friends lists, their family's accounts. If the child mentions in one of their social media sites, I want to go to UCSD, they're going to send them, they have a screenshot of UCSD. They have this ready because they know that child is going to say, no, I'm not going to send you the money. That teen's going to say, no, I don't have that kind of money. It can be anywhere from $50 to $15,000. This is straight financial. They just want the money. They don't care about the child. They don't care about the pictures. They just want the money. So this happens really hard and fast, where this boy is now under this intense, fast pressure because they say, I want money, and the boy says, I don't have any money. I can't do that, and they send him the screenshots. Here's your friends list. Here's your parents' accounts, your guardians' accounts. And we know who they are, and we're sending it to everybody. I've gotten calls from a youth pastor who received pictures of one of the students in his youth group, a basketball coach, same thing happened. And they called because they were reporting that this child was being sextorted and the person had sent out the pictures. But it happens so hard and so fast, the boy can't breathe. They'll put up a countdown clock. They'll say, you've got 10 seconds, 9 seconds. They'll start counting it down, creating this intense pressure where the boy can't stop and breathe and go, wait a minute, I'm just going to shut everything down and go tell somebody. We actually had one young man who got so scared, his parents are in the house, it was the middle of the night, and he called 911. Because we're so freaked out. Unfortunately, we are seeing an uptick in the number of suicides when it comes to these cases because the boys are so scared. And there's a case, Ryan Last, out of San Jose. We had previewed this sextortion hidden pandemic movie. It was a documentary about the sextortion and what's happening to these kids. This woman, her son Ryan Last, I think he was 15, 16 years old. This is out of San Jose. He had met a predator, and from the time he met the predator after the parents had went to bed to the time that he took his life was 6 hours. That's how fast this is going. So we have to be aware. We have to know that these things are happening and be involved. The other kind of predator is the online friend. But they're going to say it's my friend. If you ask your child who they're talking to when they're on that device in your car, on the couch, they're going to say that's my friend. Kids do not differentiate between online friend and real world friend. And trust me, believe me when I say that these kids care about this person. This person has now kind of ingratiated themselves and created a relationship with that child so that they may be afraid to come and tell if something happens because I don't want to get my friend in trouble. I've heard kids say that. I don't want to get my friend in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble. They groom them by telling them how much they love them, how much they care about them. If the child is having a difficult time at home, oh, I'm the same way. I totally understand how you feel. That way I can pull you into this kind of grooming. They want sexual chat or nude pictures or videos or to meet the child in person or all three. 7-year-old girl, case here in San Diego County. She met somebody playing Roblox. This person pretended at first to be around her age. He groomed her for 2 years and eventually slowly led up to his real age. At 9 years old, he was coming and picking her up from her neighborhood. She lied to her parents and left her house. And he was taking her and molesting her and bringing her back home. At 11 years old, parents noticed behavioral issues and started going through the device and realized that these conversations were happening, that things were happening. They called the police. She took off with him. We were able to arrest him. We recovered her. But the problem was when we got there, she was so mad she cussed my poor detectives up one way and down the other. I hate you. You're ruining my relationship. This is an 11-year-old. This guy's in his early 20s. I'm in love with him. We're going to be together forever. The whole thing. Because he had groomed her and manipulated her to where she believed this. And I wish I could say that was our only case, but it's not. And I could give you case after case example. But I'm not trying to frighten you. I'm trying to educate because I believe that the more that people know what's happening, the more involved they'll be. The more involved that you are in your child's online world, hopefully that is the foundation to possibly keeping them out of my office as a victim. I mean, unless you're going to live off the grid somewhere where you don't have electricity, then you might not have to worry about online predators or anything like that. But unfortunately, children are getting devices, whether it's a cell phone, whether it's a tablet, or it's something from the school, a Chromebook. They put security on there, but if children want something bad enough, they're going to figure out a way to get it, and these kids are smart, and they're getting around these things. So what I suggest that you can do as prevention is to talk to the child and discuss the rules at home. What's okay and what's not okay, and be specific, and don't assume that your child thinks something's okay if you haven't said it. We had a 10-year-old boy who took a picture of the back of his mom's car and the front of their house and sent it to his Roblox friend because he asked him to. Obviously, we know what that predator wanted. He wanted his address and he wanted his the back of mom's car. He wanted the license plate. And create a safe space for the child. This is crucial that the child knows if they're sexting and they've sent those pictures out to, they've given it to a boyfriend or girlfriend, they've taken that kind of picture and they've given it to a boyfriend or girlfriend, and that boyfriend or girlfriend promised they never send it to anybody, which we all know what that means. They're going to send it to everybody. But a lot of times that child is trusting that person that they're not going to do this when they send it. They're still the victim. And when they meet somebody online and they're sextorted, they're the victim. And when they're enticed online or manipulated or somebody's threatening to hurt their family, I'm going to come and I'm going to hurt your family, and so they send pictures or videos, they're the victim. So start with that and say, look, it's okay, whatever's going on, you make a mistake online, come to me, we'll talk about it, it'll be okay. Give them that safe space to come and tell you anything. And if they do come and tell you, your first reaction may be, oh my gosh, what did you do? But stop before you do that. Stop, take a deep breath, calmly say, okay, let's sit down, let's talk about it, what happened, and start asking questions. I have realized as I've talked to kids and I've seen interviews with some of our child victims that are in the office, I've noticed kids look, I think it's kind of unintentional, they're looking to you to see how much they can trust you with the information. So they're going to give you the basics at first. And as long as you stay calm and you're not reacting, then they're going to give you a little bit more. And they're going to give you a little bit more. They don't just blurt out the whole story right up front. I even talked to a mom who had a Bark app on the phone of her child, and they do weekly checks. That's how she found that he was talking to the predator. The predator had told him how to get around the Bark app to get Discord, which is a gaming chat. So this kid had got the chat, and she did that. She said it took all night to get the whole story out because they're afraid to tell you. They're afraid they're going to get in trouble. And if you immediately feel that, oh my gosh, feeling, just tell them, hey, sit down for a minute. I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. And you go in the bathroom and you ball your fists, stamp your feet, whatever you got to do so that you can come back out and be calm. Because that child needs to know that they can trust you with the information, because they're afraid and they won't tell you everything up front. Engage in the social media together. Learn what they're doing. Look on those apps and go, what is this? Because if you hold up the app and go, this is Snapchat, and I know it's a sexting app, which it is, then all of a sudden they're going to clam up. They're not going to want to talk to you. You can talk about what the law is when it comes to pictures and sexting with your teens, preteens, and teens. A lot of 12, I'd say 11, 12-year-olds and through 17 are sending the pictures to the boyfriend or girlfriend, and then they get out there. Some of the kids are telling me, well, everybody does it. Oh boy, that's not good, because they don't realize the long-term issues with that. So talk about what the law is. It's illegal. It's child pornography. Have those check-ins and use appropriate usernames, screen names with kids. Tell them never to use their real name. A lot of kids will use their real names. I met a kid who did that. Tell them not to do that. And point out good behaviors. If they come and tell you that somebody asked them for pictures and they didn't send them, oh my gosh, that's great, that's awesome. Give them that positive affirmation. So, okay, I did something right. And talk about personal information. And this is for parents and grandparents and anybody who has kids in their lives that has social media, that loves to share the pictures of their kids. Please, please, please be careful about doing that without privacy settings on. I know people are happy, they're proud of their kids. My son joined the Air Force, and he graduated basic training. I was super excited about going, took all kinds of pictures. I was ready to post them, and I don't know if any of you have any military experience, but if you do, you know that they won't let you do that because of operational security, OPSEC. And we need to start thinking about that in terms of our kids, because these kids, a lot of the information that the predator can use against them are found on their parents' accounts or their brothers or sisters' accounts. I know you're proud that your kid is the first day of school and they're wearing their school uniform with the name of the school on it, but guess what? You've just told everybody and that predator where your child goes to school and what they look like. Or they're in their soccer uniform and they're playing Friday, because then I'm going to come back to that child and I'm going to say, hey, so I play soccer. Do you play soccer? Now, the kid never said anything about playing soccer, but where did I get that? I got that from the parents' accounts. We're oversharing a lot of information without any privacy settings, not realizing. I think just a lot of people just don't think about how much they're sharing, and you have to be careful about that. Names of brothers and sisters, names of parents. They need to keep their online world separate from their real world, because sometimes the predator is using other means to ask them questions, to get information and wear them down. And set no electronic zones. Most of the images and the videos that I'm seeing are happening in the bathrooms and in the bedrooms of these kids. So there's no reason that a child needs to take that device into the bathroom. And I know that a lot of parents don't want to go through their child's device. You need to know those passwords. You have to know those. If you call law enforcement, if you're calling the sheriff's department, first thing they're going to ask you is, what are the passwords? If you say, I don't know, well, then we have a little bit of an issue because of the California Electronic Communication and Privacy Act, which states that if you don't, as a parent, know your passwords, if you don't go in the device, then we have to have your child's written consent to go into that device. So you need to know, this is not an invasion of privacy. This is about protecting your child, because they don't understand and they don't see. The predator doesn't put predator on their profile, they don't shout it out, so you just don't know. And charge those devices in your room at night. They don't need to have those devices all night long when they're up texting. They need to go to school the next morning, get some sleep. So charge them in your room, and most big companies for cell phones have some kind of safeguards or settings that you can put on those devices. If the child becomes nervous, jumpy, eating habits change, sleeping habits change, they're shutting that device when you walk by or changing the page that they're looking at, there is maybe something going on. It could be cyberbullying, it could be sexting, it could be sextortion, it could be your online friend. It could be any of those, but obviously there's something going on when they're becoming secretive about their online world and they won't share, and everything is changing about them. They're withdrawing from you, from their family, from things they used to do. There's something going on, and you need to get in and you need to talk to them. And if your child is a victim, you can call law enforcement, you can call the sheriff's department. You can also report to the National Center. A lot of people don't realize this. The majority of the over 8,000 reports that the ICAC received last year, I know that because I do the stats also, so that we received over 8,000 reports of children being victimized. Most of them came from NCMEC. It's report.cybertip.org. You give them all the information about the suspect, and the beauty of NCMEC is that they're the clearinghouse for these reports, not just from us, but from electronic service providers, meaning Twitter, Facebook, Verizon, any company that has there's interaction on it. There can be child pornography exchanged or sexual chat with kids, anything like that. They have to report it according to the law, and it gets reported to NCMEC. But you can report to NCMEC. They're going to run those screen names and email addresses, see if they can determine where that suspect is, because that suspect could be anywhere in the United States or anywhere in the world. HSI has agents in most countries working these cyber crimes against children. These crimes are not just here in the United States. This is a worldwide issue we're dealing with. In fact, the sextortion rate for the boys has gone up over 300% in 2 years. So you want to make that report. And if the kids make that mistake and send that picture out, and now some kids posted it online and it's somewhere online, NCMEC created #TakeItDown or takeitdown.ncmec.org. What they do is they take the hash value of that photo, meaning it's like a fingerprint. It's a string of letters and numbers that identifies that picture. They're going to take the hash value from that picture, and you're going to send that to NCMEC, just the hash. And they're going to send it to companies and say, this is a known child victim. If this gets on your servers, take it down, so that the companies will know and take them down. There's also, these crimes aren't just for the kids, they're for families too. The parents, the whole family is really kind of victimized in this. And a lot of times, there's a lot of shame that goes on with these crimes. And parents don't want to talk to anybody. They're afraid, they don't want to report, or they don't want to talk to their family and friends about it. Well, NCMEC has met that need by creating FAON, the Family Advocacy Outreach Network. They're volunteers. They provide resources, therapy. You can find therapists in your area, which I encourage if you have a child that's been affected by these crimes, because if you think about it, whether they're 7 years old or they're 15 years old, their values and the way that they look at their bodies has changed. The way that they look at other people has changed by seeing the things that they see and experiencing the things that they're experiencing, their images being out there, this person grooming them, and they're in love with this person. We see it all the time. It's difficult sometimes at that point to break that chain between the two, the predator and the child, because they are in love with this person. And so Team Hope is kind of like a resource for parents to talk to somebody about it. You don't want to talk to your family and friends? You can talk to people who know, who've been there. And I have found in my life, which has been a long life, it seems like, when something happens, something bad happens. I lost my father to suicide. And I found that people who have experienced that same issue, they relate better to me. The people at Team Hope have been there. They've been where you are, and they've come out the other side. And they're trained by NCMEC to be there and just be an emotional support and help you through the situation. There's also One Safe Place. I don't know how many people are aware of this. It's awesome. It's not just for us. One Safe Place is in North County, and it services for anyone who's been victimized. Restraining orders, financial services, maybe you don't have housing. There's all kinds of free resources, therapy. As I said, I believe that these kids need therapy, the families need therapy. Some of these kids are learning about sex online. We had a 9-year-old who she made friends with somebody playing video games online. It was Fortnite or Roblox, I don't remember which. But that 9-year-old, the guy started sending the 9-year-old links, her online friends started sending her links to adult pornography websites, bestiality, all kinds of things. So she's seeing things that you can't take that innocence and put it back. it's already been, exploited. My detective, who is my sheriff's detective, actually found out during the course of that investigation that she was live streaming herself to 5 men in 4 different countries. Now, how does that happen? Well, it happened when she met him, and he started grooming her to do this by sending her these links. And parents don't realize your children are learning about sex, and they're learning about it online. So you need to know and be aware of this. Our website is at the bottom. If you want any more information from us, there's policies and laws. The laws are finally catching up with technology a little bit. So when it comes to cyberbullying in schools, if you go to stopbullying.gov, you can look up what the laws and what the education codes are and what the school can do when it comes to 2 students that are, cyberbullying each other, or one student's the bully and one student's the victim. NetSmart, Common Sense Media. I have these in a packet, in a handout that I had sent in that we have at the San Diego ICAC, and we hand out anytime we do any kind of community events or presentations, that has all of this in it. Thorn for Parents. Thorn was created by Ashton Kutcher, and it's his company. There's a lot of research on there about kids and their access to digital media, them sharing pictures. There's lots of great stuff on there. Apple parental locks. Now, this is beautiful. Apple created this. You can set parental locks on an Apple device for free using, if you go to this site, Apple walks you through how to set free parental locks. And there's Google Family Link is more for Android devices. And I put up YouTube Kids, TikTok, Fortnite, Roblox, how to set parental controls, because parents are always asking me. But the truth of the matter is there's so many new apps, so many new social media sites that come out every single day. It's hard for us even to keep up with everything. So if you find something that you don't know what it is, Google it. I mean, Google's your friend in this case. You say, how do I set the parental controls for this? And it'll take you to the site who will walk you through or show you how to do in many different languages. If there's, people who don't understand English very well, or Spanish, or, you speak a different language, you want it in that language, they have great resources online. So Google is your friend in this case. And I appreciate you allowing me the time to come and speak to you and give you this information. And I don't know if anybody has any questions for me.
Questions, comments? Let's start with Mark.
Thank you for all this. Certainly lots of information coming this way. All of a sudden, I started thinking about AI, and it's hit the media. If you haven't heard, I'm sure most of us in the room have probably heard of it, and anybody that's going to listen to this has possibly heard that AI is an up and coming. It's here. It's not going away.
Yes.
It's a technological challenge for humanity, apparently. Is that already impacting? Are you guys already seeing that that's somehow starting to play a role in either the predators able to defeat some of these roadblocks that are being laid out in front of them, or that the kids are using it to access it to get around?
We are not seeing the children using it, but we are aware of it. We are aware that it's coming, and we are aware of how they're using it. I hate to get into too much detail about our investigations, just because some things ICAC keeps, holds back, because we don't want to give people a whole lot of what we do, just because we don't want the predators going, well, I can get around that, So we are seeing it. We know it's coming. It's coming right now more towards our sextortion cases. And I think the law enforcement side is seeing people imitating someone and their voice to scam people online, or elderly, thinking it's their grandchild or their child's in jail somewhere, that kind of thing. We are not yet seeing it as much impacting us yet, but we know it's coming, and we know where it's coming from. So yes, it's going to affect us, and trying to get companies to play with us as much as we would like, because some companies don't play with us as well as we would like when it comes to, I don't get it, we're talking about children. So when it comes to children being victimized, shouldn't they want, but, well, that's here nor there, but so we know it's coming. We know right now they're looking towards extortion, because again, this is a financial boom all over the world. It was coming out of HSI and FBI were investigating. It was coming out of the Ivory Coast, But now it has migrated to the Philippines and other countries because people figured out they can make money. And we arrested someone where there was a 10-year-old victim in another state. We had the suspect here, and we arrested that person, and they were extradited back to that state.
Is that it? David?
A lot of great information. I know if I were watching this at home, have a sore hand from trying to write down. Where can folks get this packet and the presentation that you just did? Is there a centralized place they can go? Because that was a lot of information. I'm just wondering if there's a way to get it to where a parent could call and say, I just want that packet so I can sit down, read it at my own pace, and digest it.
Yes, so they would contact me directly at the San Diego ICAC office because we haven't got it on our website just yet. I need to work with them on that. Unfortunately, in the last week, we've received over 200 cyber tips, and as I said, I process every report. So, trying to do all that, and when I have the stats to do for our grants, I haven't had a chance to get the packet up. But they can contact me at the San Diego ICAC office, and it's 858-715-7100. And they can give me their email address, and I can email a copy of it. I don't hand out my presentation. Obviously, it's law enforcement. This is only 3/4 of the presentation I give, but if you're interested in a presentation, I'm free. I don't charge because I work for ICAC. So any school, any parent group, I did a presentation at a karate studio. Churches are big. A lot of churches will have me come in, and it seems to be a big turnout. A lot of times, in fact, a bigger turnout sometimes than parent nights. But parents, I go to schools and talk to kids, kindergarten and up. Everything is focused toward the age that I'm dealing with. So if I'm talking to parents, obviously it's going to be a lot of resource information and what's happening, and then kind of down to the little ones, just about always asking for permission to talk to anybody. Because parents should know who their child is texting, because I know that you love your family members, but I think we learned a lot. I grew up in the 70s and 80s when stranger danger was big. And if you remember, that kind of backfired a little bit because we found that a lot of the child abuse was happening with people that they know. We're finding in some of our cases that children are texting with a family member or somebody in authority, in a position of authority somewhere in their world, whether it's a coach, a teacher, or somebody. We're finding that's happening also. Obviously, electronic media has given them access, and a lot of times the parents don't think about it, but they need to know anyone who is talking to their child so that they know what's going on. So I talk to kids about stuff like that, so they can call the office, and I can come out and talk about, give them the full presentation of cyberbullying and the sexting and all that.
Do you see any also link between this activity and forced drug smuggling or use of kids as a means to human trafficking, things like that?
So we're separate. A lot of people don't realize we're separate from human trafficking. They have their own task force. But if you think about it, this is where it begins. If you're talking to that child and you have already taught that child about sex when they're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, and they grow up, as I said, how are they going to look at themselves, their own bodies? How are they going to look at others who are looking at them? Obviously, this can lead to drug and alcohol abuse unchecked without any kind of therapy or help to deal with what happened, the trauma. We're finding right now that a lot of the girls are saying they feel violated on a constant basis because their images are out there. There's a young lady who for the last 3 years contacts my office every time she finds her images on adult sites. Imagine spending your time looking for your pictures and videos to get them taken down because somebody has them and keeps popping them back up. And that's why, again, we changed from child pornography. It's legally, it's still child pornography, but we now, in this world, we refer to it as CSAM because the victim said, we don't feel child pornography truly explains how we feel about this. Because I walk down the street, I don't know, has somebody seen my pictures? If somebody looks at me, they're become adults and they're now aware that these images are out there and how this is affecting and impacting their life. And it's just this repeat trauma. So you can see how that can lead right into human trafficking. Sometimes it's direct, where they get that first image from the child and say, well, you're going to come and sleep with me or else I'm sharing it with friends and family. And so they'll do that. And then they'll come back again because I'm recording it. Now I have a video. And now I want you to come back and sleep with this person, this person, this person. You can see how that leads right into human trafficking. The internet has a lot of great things. So I won't say it's a bad thing. I'm saying that it needs to be checked. Parents need to know that it's kind of the Wild Wild West, and that predator is sitting next to you and your child in your house. I've seen parents on the news who are outside campaigning to keep a predator out of their neighborhood, and I get that. But my mind goes to, but are you watching at home? Because now that's where the predator is. They're in your home. They're in the back seat of the car when your child's on the device. They're with you. You're letting them into your house through that device. And a lot of parents say, well, what do? I want my child to have a phone. First and foremost, you know, how old is your child? How much are they aware of? How much do you trust your child? How mature are they to handle a smartphone versus a phone that texts and makes phone calls? They make them. They have them. You can get your kid a phone. That, I believe, my own personal opinion, that phones are a privilege, not a right, and that kids need to understand and parents need to be involved. Because, again, that's where it starts. It starts in the front end with the parents to know what's going on.
Yeah, just to piggyback on one of the questions, we talked about a couple things. You mentioned trauma. And I think you could also put PTSD in here somewhere, and how it can lead to even alcohol and drug abuse. How about homelessness? Are you seeing any kind of connection there?
We aren't, as of yet, as far as what we deal with. They may see that more in the human trafficking side. For our side, and these kids, they come from all walks of life, all financial statuses, all, parents or no parents, all different kinds of groups. So most of our kids have somebody that's there that, that gave them that device and loves them and cares about them, but is just not involved in it. So I have not seen that yet. What we're seeing more is just all of the trauma, and the number of enticement cases going up, the number of sextortion cases going up. The internet's made it so easy. But I haven't seen the homelessness part yet. A lot of the kids that are actually reporting, again, there's a lot of shame with our crimes, so kids nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to know about it. I get it. But I've had parents who actually didn't want to report. I know of a sports team where half the team was being sextorted, and we had one parent report for shame. So if that is happening, it hasn't come to my attention at the San Diego ICAC as of yet.
Okay. And I think one of the worst phrases yet was apple.parental.locks. Because what it said to me at first, this is just my silly thinking, they're locking out parents. I know what it means, but I'm like, no way, they're not locking out parents.
Yeah, Apple Parental Locks lets you set those for free, which is a really nice feature, because then you don't have to pay for something. You can set up those and share an iCloud. If you share an iCloud, your child tries to download something or do something, it pops up on yours. But, there's a lot of parents who have Android, makes it a little bit different. But
Apple cares more.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, it makes it harder for us in investigations. That's the only part that's difficult for us as law enforcement.
Yeah, great. Mike, you have anything?
You mentioned going to schools, and it's unfortunate the high school reps aren't here, but I think it'd be a great presentation to give to the probably middle school. Well, like you said, it's all age dependent on the age of your victim, but that's, very good presentation.
Thank you. For most of the time when I go places, I don't know any impact when I walk away. but I was able to do a presentation for middle school students. And I try to be as flexible as possible when it comes to presentations. So some schools, they don't want to take the time out to do one big presentation and cut out, class time. So I've gone and spoke during PE period, smaller class sizes, a little more manageable, and I'm there for all day for like 6 periods. And I did that with some classes recently with some middle school students, and the 7th through 12th grade, I hit them with the same topics that I talk to parents about in a different way, of course, but I'm letting them know this is really happening, and I also let them know they need to watch out for their little brothers and sisters, because the parents are not as involved. They just don't know, and I'm not blaming parents. I think they just don't know. They aren't aware. So I left that school, and the teacher had the students write me letters, and I found out after the fact through these emails, some of the kids, one girl said she was approached by a predator that very day, and another one said, I went home and told my brother and sister about how to stay safe on the internet.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think they're probably more likely to speak with their brother or sister than they are with their parents, unfortunately.
That's kind of why I added it in there.
That's the way we
'cause
were when we were kids. We wouldn't tell our parents things. We'd tell our brother or something.
Well, yeah. And I thought it's also a way to get them to think about what they're doing.
Right.
Because by telling these 7th through 12th graders to watch out for the younger ones, because a lot of them think, well, I'm not stupid, it won't happen to me. But, the victims aren't stupid. That girl that was 7, that became 11, and he took off with her, that girl was smart as a whip. I mean, top-notch, not education, but brains, this girl was smart. So it doesn't matter. It's everybody's vulnerable because they trust that person though you see it on TV, people sending money to their online boyfriend in some other country because he's got an accident. So adults can fall to it too. Kids are just more vulnerable.
Yeah.
So
I have one more question. Are you, I'm assuming that you guys do vertical prosecution through kind of specialized prosecutors that have a lot of training in this area, and are you also, is it only state, or you also do federal prosecution?
no, we federal and state. So our San Diego task force, we have in-house, we have a sheriff's detective, we have San Diego PD detectives, we have a district attorney investigator, Chula Vista PD. We also have HSI agents, FBI. We got somebody from Secret Service. I mean, we've got U.S. Postal Service, so we've got all these people. We have specialized prosecutors who prosecute our cases, obviously with human trafficking, and they handle family protection. But we have ones that understand our crimes and our cases to go to bat for us, because sometimes, within the law, we find that there are some judges that may not understand our crimes.
Right.
So we have our own DAs. We have one main one that actually comes into the office once a week to look over search warrants and things like that because of some law changes. That's nice to have. We have our federal prosecutors. Sometimes we take cases federally and state. We had someone who was approaching boys online, 13, 14-year-old boys online. He was a teacher. We found in the investigation he had live victims. So we had over 200 victims at the end of that case, victims in almost every single state. That guy, we took him federally and we took him state for the molest, and we got life on both ends, so he's not going anywhere.
Good for you. Well, that's good. I didn't realize it was a full federal task force. That's good, because then you get a lot of I know Mark and I were on task force, and with that you get a lot of the federal funding, so you have a little bit more resources. So that's good.
Yeah, so we're straight federal and state funding. I'm paid for, obviously, by the San Diego Police Department,
Right.
but a lot of our detectives, half their salaries paid for by our funding, training, travel, everything. The entire task force is federally and state grant funded. So we run off money from this federal, state, and the federal and the state grants. And one of the people on the, I can't even think of his name right now, got us an extra $1 million for this year, which was really, really nice, because typically we have 5 ICACs in California sharing money, and sometimes it's hard not having as much money as some of the other task forces do, but we do have all the federal, state, and local people attached to our task force that do all different things in their field to protect kids. The whole reason we're here and the whole thing that we do is to protect kids.
Yeah, what you do is very important, and I'm glad to hear you have, sounds like adequate resources or at least access to those resources. So,
Yes.
perfect. Thank you so much.
Any questions? Mark?
There's a theme that I keep hearing, and it's around love. That one of the things that gets activated within the little one is a strong need to know that they do exist and that they are human and that they, and if that's how they're getting it through a smartphone or the internet or something, then it's kind of landing on me. It's been a long time since I've raised little ones, so I can imagine parents hearing this starting to freak out and reaching over, grabbing the kids' phones right away, throwing them in the trash, shutting them down or whatever and stuff. And, I just want to kind of throw it out here and offer that sometimes it's just coming alongside the kids as parents and letting them know somehow that you love them and that they are loved. And continually doing that over and over and over. Because so oftentimes, I see this a lot with little ones that I do know, that I do have personal contact with, and sometimes it's so easy to hand them their device so we can do our adult thing.
Yeah.
It's really easy to do that, and it's not the parent shame, because I've probably done it. Here, why don't you go play your game, and you get some calm and some quiet in the house and stuff. So it's challenging to be a parent, and there's so many threats out there on the landscape for a little one growing up. This is one that just gets laid on top of schools doing active shooter drills. It's like, holy, what do we do with this? And navigating that as a parent is challenging. So I just want any parents that are in the room or that are listening or that will watch this to know that there are other resources for you as parents so that you can start to do that with your kids.
And to have those continued conversations, I apologize.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you know this.
To have
so.
those conversations, because some people think it's a one and done, Okay, now don't do this on the internet. Don't send any naked pictures. Drop the mic. I'm out, No. We need to keep, as they're growing, and have those conversations. I tell people, you don't give your child the keys to the car as soon as they turn 16, with no schooling, no driver's license, no nothing. You go, here you go. Have a good time. You don't do that. When they walk out the door and they're going out to hang out with friends, most parents, I did say, where are you going? Who are you going to be with? You don't do that on the device because we don't think about it. And again, that's why I said I'm not blaming parents, and I'm not trying to scare parents. I'm just trying to make you aware, because you don't know what you don't know until you end up in my office or calling my office because you're a victim. And now the thing has happened, and what do I do? And so going with them, learning things on the device, sharing the device with them. What is that? What does this do? Show me, tell me what this app does. You want it? Well, what does it do? How do you use it? Can you talk to people? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that right there, that little bit right there of having the kid teach us, I can't say how many times I've turned to a young person and say, how do I do this? Whether it's on Instagram, YouTube, these are old people platforms versus the new platforms that the youngers are using, can be intimidating for parents when the kids excel on their technology knowledge, and now the kids know more about the apps than the parents do. The parents are trying to protect the kids, and the kids the one to say, here's how you lock it.
No, but by talking to them like that and being approachable, it's a whole different ballgame than coming at them and saying, you can't have this, I just watched this presentation, I'm ripping out the internet. Because again, they're going to go to the library. The school gives them laptops. You have to have these conversations. And if they go over to a friend's house, this woman called me. Her daughter went to a sleepover. The girls got on Omegle, which is a site where they can video chat. And these girls that are 11 years old were flashing the strangers on Omegle, except the girl who came home and told her mom, she's like, they were doing this. I didn't like it. It was inappropriate. And the mom was calling me. I said, well, first reward your daughter. There should be positive affirmation about that. And you're right. That love and affirmation, you should always tell your kids. And we get busy, I raised 2 kids. I was busy. And you got, things you're taking them to. You're taking them into sports things and school and homework and dinner. And you got work and you're got 20 different things going on in your head. You got to stop and take a breath and say, you know what? what did you do today? How was school? What did, and they're at first they're not going to want to talk to you because, those preteens, they're kind of, not really want to talk to mom and dad about their day. Oh, it was fine. It was fine. I heard a lot of that. It's fine.
What'd you do today? Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, well, you had to do something. But, you can tell them, well, you know what, I think you're doing a great job. The last report card was great. It looks like you're doing really well. Did you take any tests? How are you doing at that? To give them, because if you don't, that love and affection, there's plenty of predators who are more than happy to give your child that love and affection and positive affirmation.
All
Unfortunately.
right. Bonnie? That last question.
Just a quick question. Something that struck, I think, great presentation. Something that struck me was you said, if I forget my child's password, the child has to give written permission for
If you
that?
don't know the child's password, so the California Electronic Communication and Privacy Act, which I'm sure our deputies know, our captain and lieutenant know about, wasn't really created for what it's being used for now. Our district attorneys, the ones that deal with CalECPA, came and gave us training. And basically what they said is you need to know the passwords, because if you don't know the passwords and you don't go in and check it regularly, then we have to have written consent from the child. Now, there's no age on this. And I don't know if you've ever seen an 8-year-old trying to give their signature. It's not pleasant. That's just the way it is. That's the way the law here is in California. That's the way it is here in San Diego. That's what they've told us, so that's what we go by. So the parents need to know those passwords so that when you call us and you give the deputies the passwords, or whoever, wherever you live, PD, whatever, you give them the passwords with the device so that when we take it back, we can get into it and dump it. Because remember, that's where our evidence is. It's on that device. We need those chats. We need those pictures. And unfortunately, if your child is in love with the predator, such as the 11-year-old or a 12-year-old we had or a 15-year-old we had, they may not want to give us what we need. So it's better to already kind of know that than at the back end. This is not for parents, though. I want to make it clear. This law is not telling parents they can't go into the child's device. This is to do with law enforcement, what we legally can and cannot do. For parents, that's your device. You're paying for it, so whatever you want to do with it. But for us, it's legally, we would need a child's written consent to get into it. I know that sounds kind of crazy. I know I've given you a lot of information, unfortunately, in a short amount of time, so your head's probably spinning, but thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for being here, Linda.
Thank you.
All right. Since we're very short on time, I'm just going to go through the rest of the agenda really quickly. We have item number 5. We're still waiting for some feedback on that.
I do have one.
Oh, you
item
do
on
have
that.
some?
Yeah.
Okay.
Linda Roach asked me to make an announcement regarding this. So June 10th, 2023, there's going to be a Santee Pride Walk.
Oh, yeah.
The Santee United Methodist Church, 8964 Magnolia Avenue, from 12:30 to 1. And I would refer folks to the Santee United Methodist Church for additional information, but just as a means of talking about diversity, equity, inclusion. And that's all I got for that.
Thanks. I forgot about that. And okay. And then on item number 6 is we generally go dark in July because of vacations, kids out of school. So we will cancel the meeting on July 10, 2023. Once again, will be no meeting on that Monday. Item number 7 and 8 we'll take together. I don't think there's any public communication. So any communication from staff? Mark?
I just want to make a comment that May, the entire month of May, although we're several days into it, is Mental Health Awareness Month. I want to draw particular attention to those of us that may be working in the fields of helpers, law enforcement, first responders, mental health professionals, teachers, lawyers, doctors, nurses, also struggle with mental wellness. And this is an important time to bring awareness to all of our mental wellness as well. So just want to say that and toss it out there for whatever it is. There's lots of resources, and the biggest thing, just like what we heard from Lisa, is to talk. There are no things that are unspeakable. So talk to somebody, whether it's a therapist, a friend, somebody next door, whatever. So.
Anybody else? Anything?
Just wanted to briefly mention that the Friday Nights Live entertainment series starts at Trolley Square on May 19th. You can find more information at santeespecialevents.com.
Thank you very much.
I have one more thing. Sorry.
Sure.
May 5th was the International Missing, Murdered, and Indigenous Women's Day. Goes along with the presentation we had. This is of interest to many folks in this county because of the connection to the border and the exploitation of Indigenous youth and Indigenous women. And so just want to observe that and highlight that as an important thing to remember.
Great, thank you. That takes us to item number 9, which is our next Community-Oriented Policing Committee meeting date, and that will be June 12th, 2023. And we're slated supposed to have a point-in-time count regarding homelessness, and I'm pretty sure that's going to go off. So that takes us to item number 10, which is meeting adjourned.